Picture says it all. Oh, what spirit just dropped on me was that people work together energetically. They don't even have to know that they're working together energetically against someone. They, it's like, I'm hearing the word like kindred souls. So when energy recognizes each other and they actually um like because of the vibration they're on, their agreements align with the type of vibration. So if they're both high vibrational, then their agreements will be high vibrational. If they're both low vibrational, their agreements will be low vibrational. Um, but like what Spirit was saying is that especially for people who like people come at you a lot, um because you trigger people, you spark awakenings in people, and also too like you have to encounter certain people and allow them to react to you in a certain way because you're serving karmic justice on them. And so I know I'm kind of all over the place, but Spirit was talking about being karmic justice to me earlier. And I was sitting here like I've been wanting to get on live for like about 30 minutes now. But my spirit team had me in here doing a whole gospel praise and worship because I just got finished with a yet another assignment of where I had to be completely beat down by someone in order for her to be served with karmic justice. And I told my spirit team, I was just like, I'm tired. Like, the conversation I was having with them was something like this, where I was saying that now that I have the understanding of why I have to encounter certain people and why I have to experience certain things, it doesn't make it like any better. It doesn't make it any easier. It just puts things in context for me now. Whereas before, I would just be like, why me? Like, what did I do? Did I do something so terrible in a past life that I deserve people coming at me from all different angles? And it would be like back to back to back to back to back. And I was like, thank God for my spirit team. Thank God for the protection because I don't know how I would have made it out of all of this trauma without being held up by the divine on a daily basis. And I could sit here and be resentful for all the things that I had to go through, but I would do it all over again, knowing what I know now about who I am. Now that I know why things happen to me, why people come into my life, why there's so much challenging and tests and lessons and all of those things. Like, it's not this job right here is not for the faint of heart. I'm talking about the job of a spiritual warrior. Like, he says, shoot my shot like, and the song is called Precision. Cause I'm telling you, this life is not for the faint. Because if, like, just thinking back on all the things that I had to go through, if I let those experiences make me bitter, full of hate, and all of those things, I would, ooh, like, I don't even want to imagine where I would be. Cause it's giving prison slash insane asylum slash underground. So, what Spirit had wanted me to talk, well, that's not proper English. I was getting ready to say something else, but then I started saying something else. What Spirit wanted me to talk about was power and control. The song that they gave me was Precious Lord Take My Hand, because remember I was saying that I was letting them know I'm just tired. Like, it's a lot, you know. And it wasn't like, and I'm not gonna really go into detail. It had to do with school. It wasn't even like a severe beatdown because I still got a good grade out of the class. But it was like the way the teacher was toward her students, and I'm gonna say me because I can only explain how I felt with the interaction. Um, her grading was so punitive, it was ridiculous. The expectation was so out of this world. Um, like, she was the former director of research or whatever at another school. And the types of expectations she had for APA, like, oh, you can't put a dash in between the page numbers. It has to have an end note. And I was like, who the fuck knows what an end note is? Like, are we submitting papers for a journal? Like a published article? No, we're not. Like, I'm in school for counseling. Why in the hell, unless I want to become a PhD, which I never would, because I never want to be anything like you. Why do I need to be like an APA expert? Anyway, anyway, um, let me get it together. Okay, so Spirit was talking about um people you like people use their power and control through means like money, degrees, positions of authority, They were saying like people who are appointed like to government, elected to government, even like social media influencers, content creators, people who think that they're very intellectual and well read, parental authority, religious authority, and it goes on and on and on. But like these are all like people in these positions are either going to be humble, down to earth humanitarians, or they're going to be tyrants. And it just depends on like where these people are trying to go in life, what they've experienced. And so I'm not even gonna so much say what they've experienced, because I feel like the tyrants, the tyrants has similar experiences to the people who are pure hearted, but they just alchemize the energy differently. So the tyrant alchemized a lot of the same situations the humanitarian experience, that the tyrant just alchemized it into rage and control and manipulation. And unfortunately, because trauma is real, mental health is real, we have more tyrants than we do pure-hearted people. And so Spirit was saying when people lack self-control, they seek to control others and basically like keep them in their place. When people are jealous and or power thirsty, they can't control anything about their lives, but they want to control everybody else. They want to be able to control other people's outcomes because they weren't able to control their outcome, that type of shit. um those people are very dangerous, because most times they will stop at nothing. Dangerous because most times they will stop at nothing in order to get their fix, and their fix is like making someone disappointed about their grade, or you know um I don't want that person to get an A, so I'm gonna give them like an 89.01, like it's just craziness. And I know that, people can manipulate grades before they submit it, you know, like the difference between 100 and a 98 could be the difference between a B plus and an A minus, or whatever. Like it's so minuscule, you know and but when people are like that, they're really not interested in teaching people anything or seeing people really be successful. They're interested in getting their power rocks off. And Spirit was saying when people feel like life has cut them a raw deal, they either, like I said, alchemize the energy for their good and the good of others, or they're to their detriment and detriment of others. And it's really only one or the other, because when you start talking about if I'm working for my good, but it doesn't benefit other people, that doesn't balance each other out. It just doesn't. And Spirit was saying having the ability to control the outcomes of others with their authority gives people a God complex. Instead of allowing people to take pride in what they've accomplished, these people want to take the credit. So, like in a school setting, like I gave you such and such, that type of thing. You ain't give me nothing. Thank you. Um, Spirit was saying people are only as powerful as their surroundings allow them to be. Um, and they feel like it's seemingly it gives the illusion that they're taking some kind of power from other people. So let's say like any kind of institution, like we could talk about higher education. In those environments, people are protected. And also, people are smart enough to operate within policy, and so that it doesn't look like anything is violated, because that's all they're looking for. You know, to hell with the fact that this person is traumatizing students. But as long as they're not violating policy, then you know, um, it's really unfortunate. And so that's just one example. But also too, like if you watch people, some people that are really truly very extremely insecure and powerless, they will thrive in an environment where they feel like they have like the upper hand over the people in the room. So, I don't want to insult anybody, but just as an example, like very wealthy people in the presence of homeless people, like regardless of the homeless person's education, experiences, whatever happened, the other person is going to feel superior in that environment, and has the bravado and the ego and the courage and all of that. But then if you put this same person in a different environment with like high ranking government officials, they shaking like a leaf. And so that's what Spirit was talking about. People are as powerful as their surroundings allow them to be. um And Spirit was saying, like, this energy just doesn't care about anyone but themselves. That includes, it doesn't matter what other people's feelings are. It doesn't matter how much you inconvenience other people. Like, nothing else pertaining to other people matters. And so, the song said, morning is when you wake up. So, let me see what these cards talking about. I don't know. I'm gonna start with these. I'm not. is going on here? But you know, the other thing that keeps me going, and I don't wish harm on anyone, but I mean, when you do me dirty and then you end up reaping what you sow, like that, just that right there is definitely consolation. Cause people get right back. When I say right back, people get right back what they have given to me plus some. And it's long standing. Now you done messed up your bloodline. So who gonna clear the bloodline now? And my thing is, like, it's a little scary. I'm not gonna say it's scary, but it's a little unnerving when I know that I'm on assignment with someone, because that just tells me that this person has traumatized like a multitude of other people. Because by the time you get to me, Spirit's like, we ready to take them on up out of here. Not literally, we're not wishing harm or anything on people. But I mean, like, spiritually, metaphorically, you know, like I was talking about the other day, just being locked up in your head 24/7, basically being trapped in a body, but you can't really live. Mm-mm. Nah, I don't wish that on anyone. Okay, so Spirit, what does the collective need to know? So I definitely feel like Spirit is saying you have graduated from like the novice position to the Crone of Wands, which is like self mastery. Because I feel like the Seven of Cups is like talking about being kind of young and not really knowing what you want, trying to figure life out, facing a lot of different obstacles, and basically like having to master yourself through those obstacles. I feel like this is like a mother and father figure, or some kind of masculine and feminine, whether that be, you know, could be siblings, could be just relatives in general. But I feel like there's a masculine who was playing mind games, and the feminine was like controlling everyone with money. So basically, like if this is a couple and they have a child or children involved, you want to talk about like, I know like the masculine would be considered the narcissist with all the mind games, but um I'm trying to get the proper word for this feminine energy. So what spirit is saying, this person is like a poser. So this person is a master at making it look like they have money and look like they have success, but it's really ain't shit popping. Nothing's popping. And you know, like the masculine in the situation, he was basically, you know, feeding that energy by keeping people in a state like beneath them. Because like the energy is that the two of them together just love to have people beneath them, love to have people that needed to ask them for help, love to have people um you know, just be in awe of their life and how amazing their life is. And really, it's trash. I don't know if this is your ex and they new spouse, but honey, that relationship ain't talking about Nathan. I said that relationship ain't talking about Nathan. You want to talk about some shit that's just on some like business partnership shit? I mean, the relationship is completely lacking love. I mean, I'm hearing what's love got to do with it? Because love has absolutely nothing to do with this relationship right here. And spirit is like, it's because they're not learning. They're not learning those lessons. They're not passing not one test. They've been presented with like multiple opportunities to make a better decision and they're not getting it. I feel like spirit is saying somebody I'm talking to is a star seed, and keep your money to yourself, keep your money private. Because she's sitting on like a, I would call it like a chest or whatever. And so I would say keep your money private. Because I do feel like it's about to be looking real good. Because I feel like Spirit is saying that all these people are the same, like this Crone of Wands that grew from the Seven of Cups in reverse. You know, this is the energy of like making poor decisions, feeling like you didn't do well in life. And but all along, it was relationships like with this type of masculine and feminine that gave you all kinds of challenges and contrasts and assisted you with basically coming into the knowing of who you are and mastering yourself. And that's why I said that if you really think about it, if you really contemplate all the things that you went through, and if you let it be for your good, the wisdom that you have learned from all of those experiences, the amount of abundance that's attached to that wisdom. And when I said when the amount of abundance attached to the wisdom, spirit was like, look at how that pentacle is touching her head. Yeah, this is what I was talking about in the collective. Like, basically, using your power and authority to the detriment of others, using your position to harm people, alchemizing the energy of the experiences that you've had into some old destructive, horrific shit. Thank you for the likes. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, as a result of that behavior, this person or these people are going to be completely directionless in life. Thank you for the follow. And that's what I was saying, like being locked up in your head, feeling scattered, feeling directionless, not knowing what your purpose is, not knowing who you are. That can't be life. It just can't. It most definitely cannot be life. And it's interesting, these people have the same colors, similar colors on, similar colors in the pictures. And, this, I was talking about this Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, like just using her money to try to control and manipulate people. And what happens is, and I was talking about that person not passing tests, and especially when it comes to how they were interacting with you, whoever I'm talking to, um, it's just not looking good. On this thing, it's showing a daggone skull. I don't know if you can see that. But honey, Spirit said, look at the damn image. Like, I would call that the Grim Reaper because it's like skull and bones and cemetery on a hill. I mean, that's like basically like the ancestors of ancient Egypt is coming for you. And when they get done with you, they're like, maybe there'll be some bones left. Maybe. I'm telling you, it does not pay to mess with a star seed who is on a specific mission and purpose. Why you say wow? You said ouch so bad. What happened? But I actually feel like this could be, I feel like Spirit is saying this is like representing a wealthy man that's trying to use their wealth like to get women, because this could very well represent the masculine and feminine of one individual. And this would be like the narcissistic side. This would be like using money to manipulate people. Basically, you know, transactional sex, but like masking it like I'm just taking women on dates and we just happen to, fall into some other stuff. But yeah, I would agree. Energy vampire, yes. 1000%. But also too, like trying to convince people, um playing with their emotions, playing with their head, like trying to convince people that they're going to be in a relationship but really don't want a relationship. Like, I just want people to be honest. Like, you can live however you want to. You can, if you just want to be here, there, and everywhere, then that's fine. But just be honest with it and let me make an informed decision. Don't allow me to come into a situation thinking that it's going to be something that it's not. Okay. I mean, seriously. Yeah, I said, don't let me come into a situation thinking it's something it's not. Because now you got me all fucked up, and now I got to fight my way out of the situation because my heart was all in it, and you out here playing with your wand. Yeah, the song said, anything you want is yours. Out here pump faking. You said, gots to go. Lord, I can't even see with these glasses on. That's crazy. Gots to go, LOL, just kidding. I want her happiness. I don't know what that means, child. In the forest, far away from my ass. Like you said, you want her happiness, but they're in the forest. Oh, okay. So they're in the forest away from me. I don't know why I can't see with these glasses. I have contacts on as well. But I was like emotional earlier and just in my praise and worship time. So maybe me crying to knock something loose because I can't. Like, I'm on the struggle bus right now. And I feel like what Spirit is saying is that, like, when this person, basically, this person has been trying to avoid tower moments all their life. So, if it's like a situation where they feel like the shoe is going to drop, like in a relationship, they'll be the ones to sabotage it first, or they'll be the ones to, put up their defenses. And, you know, like avoidance, you cannot just avoid life. And I feel like that's what this is giving. It's just like totally avoiding life. Um, but when people have a decent amount of money, it sometimes like muddies the water, so to speak, where they think that like the status and the money substitutes for true love and romance and wanting to be in like a genuine relationship, and it really doesn't. Because deep down, I don't care what anybody says, deep down, every single last one of us wants to be in a, solid, loving relationship with our soulmate. It's just that we have been through so much over time that it creates like all of these triggers and, putting up unhealthy boundaries and sabotaging the relationship and, not wanting to be hurt and all that stuff. Right. It's not life, it's just stuff. I agree. But, that stuff will make you happy. I mean, I'd rather be in a position where I can pay for therapy. If I'm gonna have to go through what I got to go through anyway, at least put me in a position where I can pay for good therapy and whatever else I want. But that's the other thing that people hate about you is the fact that you're happy. Like you can be happy despite people coming at you left and right. You know, there's, and typically when you're in this energy, people don't really have a reason why they don't like you. That's that, like, I don't know her. I've never talked to her. I've just seen her around, but it's just something about her. I don't like her. So he said, "Tell me about my whole life." Oh, my Lord. Right. So, yeah, I feel like this is definitely, we're talking about relationships. And it doesn't have to be relationships like a romantic relationship. It hinges a lot on the relationship with yourself. That card hinges a lot on the relationships with others. And at the end of the day, you are the only one responsible for your heart, is what Spirit is saying. So, are you going to let what other people have done to you control your heart? Or are you in control of your heart? You said she was my sister. Oh, but I love. Oh, your sister put a love spell on you when you were younger and it backfired when judgment called. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend. I don't recommend any kind of spell work whatsoever, unless you're just doing it on yourself, like a love spell, a beauty spell, like a love spell to love yourself more, not for somebody to love you. Um, you know, that type of spell work on yourself is beneficial, but the divine heavily frowns upon anyone trying to manipulate anyone else's free will. That is 1000% a no no. Because, first of all, how you as a human vessel going to have the audacity to try to manipulate someone's free will, and Source doesn't even do that. That's why people have free will, because Source isn't about manipulating and controlling people's free will. He said that's why she's been everywhere and called other mediums to talk to me. Oh, Lord. Child. Mm-mm. Well, honey, maybe she talking to you through this reading, but whoever's in this energy right here, this controlling, manipulative, money wielding, mind game plan. Oh, that's a no. That's a hell no. Oh, your whole family was in on it? That's crazy. We're definitely talking about spell work here. And this is what people think their spell work does to people. And just like the meaning of this card, creating an illusion of being trapped. An illusion. There's a wide open space right here to walk right out of the middle of these swords. None of what's wrapped around her looks tight, knotted. Like she can't just basically wiggle her way out of the bottom and then pull the blinder off. And look, her hand, Spirit's like, her hand is even basically looks free right here. So all she would have to do is reach up and unwrap that damn scarf and unwrap it from around the rest of her body. And so that's why Spirit is basically like, spell work does not work. It just won't work. But Spirit said, because you kept a pure heart through it all, it's time to celebrate. Because, baby, that money is coming right up. It is time to celebrate. Oh, yeah. Spirit said, great job mastering yourself. Great job reclaiming your power, calling your power back, finding your power. Great job figuring out who you are. You said it's been rough to find my life was like a Truman Show for real. Yeah, people are wild. Absolutely wild. And Spirit is like, look at her posture. Like, that says, I am fully in my power. I know who the I am. And I wish would. And like I was saying earlier, people collaborate energetically. So, like in the upright, it just looks like two people enjoying some wine. Maybe they're at brunch or something like that. But this right here is like people not really knowing they're working together against someone, but they're energetically working together against someone. Because what happens is, like, say it'll be two different people. They may, be loosely affiliated, but they don't really know each other. They don't hang out or anything like that. But they like three, let's say three people are a part of an organization. They don't know each other, but the two individuals encounter this one person separately. And maybe they encounter the person together, but then they don't have any further discussion about it. But each of their perceptions of that one person is now energetically working. They're now energetically working together based on their individual perceptions of that one person. So that's how you can have two unrelated, don't really know each other people energetically coming against this one person. So one person may be jealous of the person because of how they look, or maybe jealous of the person's intellect. And the other person may be, in a position of authority and doesn't like, the fact that this person is intelligent, and read them for filth or whatever. So they don't have to ever have a conversation about you, don't have to ever have any kind of agreement to come against you. And that's why these collective readings can sound so wild. Like, oh, these two people are working together against you and blah, 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 blah. It really doesn't have to be anybody close to you. It really doesn't have to be anybody that you really know. But what happens is the one person will be like the pure-hearted person that triggers everybody they encounter. And something different is pulled out of each individual person. And so whatever darkness was shown light upon, then that person now wants to turn against this pure-hearted person, because they basically energetically exposed them. And so that's the other part of the energy exchange. Someone with really big, powerful energy, healing energy, earth angel energy, someone that triggers awakenings in people. You're constantly doing and moving and accomplishing things energetically. You said, does that mean karma? Which part? Sorry, I was just talking and talking. As far as like the energy exchange, you said, yeah, the energy exchange. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It just depends on like what needs to be accomplished from the energy exchange. So if the pure-hearted person triggers one of the people to have them come against them, and they have basically an instant return to sender setup. That's why people who are considered like walking karma, that's why they are guided and directed into situations specifically with people who need that instant karma. That's why I said, like, by the time I get to people, when they treat me poorly, do me dirty, talk crazy to me, or whatever they do, it's like they've done this over and over and over again. And Spirit has given them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to do something different. And so, like by the time, and that's why the assignments that Walking Karma takes on are so horrendous at times, because it only takes that type of spiritual warrior to be able to deal with these people, because they're very skilled at tormenting and torturing people mentally, emotionally, energetically, physically, financially. So, but yeah, like the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse. And this would be like this is the Six of Wands. So like, in the opposite of public recognition, what is that? That is not being seen, not feeling significant. And the Wheel of Fortune in reverse is like everything and everybody feels like they're against me. You know, I'm hearing not feeling comfortable in your own skin. This is given the energy of like being very um what's the word, like someone who hates public speaking, someone who hates being in the public eye, someone who doesn't like being the center of attention, but really it's because people have made you feel insignificant. Yeah, and when you feel insignificant, it's very difficult to focus on developing yourself, honing your craft. You have, in order to be anyone significant at anything, whether it's being an artist, a motivational speaker, a singer, or whatever, you have to have enough confidence to actually do the work. So, what people don't really think about is the fact that in order to do what you have to do, there is a good amount of confidence that's required for you to put yourself out there and to practice your gifts. Like, I'm online like this because I'm putting myself out there and I'm practicing. And I'm forcing myself to begin to be comfortable speaking in the public eye. Not that there's a lot of people in this live, but I'm just saying it helps me to be able to read the energy in a setting where I know that at any given moment people could be watching me. Because I know that people watch me from outside the live because um I get that, being a small creator, but being a dope ass, phenomenal fucking reader that has gifts and abilities way beyond the average. People will watch me who have big followings, but they don't want people to know that they watching me. Because how could a big popular creator be watching little old me, the most underrated goat? Yes, I'm talking my shit. You said you working on it. So yeah. The song just said they carbon copy her. That's confirmation. Now this is kind of random. I have the temperance in the reverse, but Spirit is saying there's someone at your job who is really doing a number on you behind your back. And I really hate to deliver messages like that. But I really feel like Spirit is like, just let it play out. You know, it's not going to be in their favor. Because this is like kind of like the justice card. And I feel like Spirit is saying these people aren't going to get justice from what they're doing or what this person is doing. It's given the energy of like, if I make this person look bad or incompetent, then I can, you know, blow past them as far as promotions are concerned. But you don't do little dirty stuff because it's given the energy of like um maybe working on a project together, and then or having having this person work on a project and then get this final submission that's perfect, but then the person like transposes some numbers and changes some wording and completely destroys the presentation and creates a problem for this person. um and I guess that's just a scenario. In that scenario, there's probably ways to prove that the type of product that you gave the person, if you have it saved on your computer or whatever, or in the email. um but that's another thing I feel like Spirit is saying, that you need to document everything. Because I really feel like Spirit is talking more about like the documentation is going to end up helping you to get a settlement. Yeah. So, yeah, like this has to do with communication, and I was talking about like manipulating some communication, because a presentation would be communication, and so I feel like that's confirmation. Yeah, that's what I feel like Spirit is saying with this card, that this person thought that they were going to like trample all over you and get ahead of you to get to the money before you. She said it's a big difference between me and you. We not the same, you my opposite. And she said, we not the same, you my opposite. I am the queen, you my op and shit. And these cards came out back to back and they're like opposite. And Spirit is saying, like, you don't really have to master your energy to make money. You know, you could ride on the backs of other people to get where you need to go. But if you have not gotten that energy together, at that point, it doesn't matter how much money you got or how much motion you got. If you haven't gotten that other stuff together, it's going to be a challenge. You said, my whole fake family was on. I can't help but feel, you said can't help but feel a lot remorse. Why? And look, you said feeling remorse. That would be confirmation. Spirit's like, you need to go within, because you should not be feeling remorse for people that victimized you. No, I wouldn't even feel a little remorse, because that's like, so when you use the term remorse, that's like you basically taking on the accountability of people that hurt you. Please don't do that. Because when you take on the responsibilities of someone that hurt you, like, that creates such disharmony, confusion. Um, it really fucks up your energy in a major way. And it puts you in a position where, like, you start to resent yourself, but really the resentment is supposed to be, like, I wouldn't say resentment should be directed toward anyone, because I don't sit around resenting people. But you're turning all of that inward when you should be directing that energy outward to set up boundaries from these people. Um but that's all I'm gonna say on that, because now I'm getting into doing like a personal reading and you ain't signed up for that. So what Spirit said, I know what the hell I'm talking about now. I am not confused or dismayed. Solid as a rock. And Spirit said, oh, you think that you're single by choice? Nah, they said we blocked any and every unworthy new beginning, any foolish new beginning is blocked. So if somebody was wondering why you have a hard time with relationships, romantic relationships, it's because Spirit has the energy blocked for your divine masculine to come in. And like Spirit is saying that they're talking about like you have to kiss a lot of frogs to get to your person. And so what happens is just before your divine masculine comes in, you're going to have experiences with people who are there to test you, like to kind of give you that final test to say, can we send him in yet? Is she going to choose herself first this time? Or is she going to continue the cycle, continue to let these people circle back and do the same thing and give half-ass crumbs? So it's not punishment. Spirit's not trying to punish anyone or, trying to prevent you from having a loving relationship. But, you have your free will, but they're also like guiding and directing you to block certain energies. Because when you block certain energies, that blocks the energy from being a part of your person. So, like, whatever energies your divine person does not embody, so like all the whatever negative things about these people, you have to be able to close the cycle on those things so that when your person comes in towards you, then you have already weeded out all the energies that you don't want so that this person can then embody and give to you the energy that you do want. And so, yeah, I said that all the energies you don't want. The Knight of Cups in reverse, like all these false knight in shining armors. You said make the next move your best move. Absolutely. You said it was meant for me will be. I'm working on. Yeah. It's not, I mean, it is not an easy thing to, first of all, it was challenging for me to just be by myself. That in itself, I'm just like, and then they would be like, just be patient, just be patient. And I'm like, if y'all tell me to be patient one more damn time. And look, I said, if y'all tell me to be patient one more damn time. Because this is like the single life right here. This is having to be patient, having to go sit somewhere by yourself. And be like, Satan, get thee behind. So that my man can come on through. I said, Satan, get thee behind so my man can come through. That's what I'm saying. You had to beat niggas. Look. You had to beat people off with a stick. You gotta go through. You gotta go through it in order to get to it, Spirit said. They always trying to make me rhyme. And I say, you gotta go through it to get to it. you know, false people, peeking people making false promises of, oh, we're going to be a family, we're going to be together. In one breath, they'll say that, then they get what they want, right? But then once all that is over, then the realness comes out. Oh, I don't know about marriage. I do want to be married, but then again, I kind of just want to be in a domestic partnership with someone. And I want us to live in separate residences. Like, go ahead with that. You said it's a vicious cycle. You said you want to help break. What do you mean want to help me? Want to help break me out of my shell? Oh, okay. Um, I'm not really ready to do that just yet. Um, I've done a couple of collaborations and I'm just not ready to do it again just yet. Um, but it doesn't mean that I won't be open to it at a later time. But like I'm very happy, but I've been through a lot. And so I'm just like, I'm at the point now in my life where I'm just taking it real easy and making it real simple. And whatever that looks like, yeah, whatever that looks like, because like I really have to allow spirit to guide me, and that's for everybody. If we allow spirit to guide us and direct us, and I mean, spirit has been guiding me and directing me all my life anyway. Like I was doing praise and worship earlier, and I look up, and the picture I put on the wall in this precise place is a woman with her hands up worshiping the sun. And then I have a saying on my wall that says, "May your journey always lead you home." So, like, even the placement of my artwork in my house is guided and directed by the divine. And I'm totally oblivious. And so that's what I would really love for people to get that, because if people got that, there would be much less regret about, past decisions, whatever happens in the past. There will be a lot more introspection. People won't be scared to get into the feelings and cry and, do whatever it is that they need to do, because everything literally has been in divine order and in divine timing. You said, if God is my co-pilot and the devil is my wingman, who's flying the plane? The same source. Because source is light and dark. Source will love you and will fuck you up with love. Straight up. So, and as soon as I said source will love you and fuck you up, this is like the equivalent of like the Jesus card. So like if it was in the traditional tarot deck, the upright hangman looks like Jesus, and it actually has like a sun halo around the head and everything. It looks like Jesus on the cross. But you know. So, when we talk about source taking you down and through there, Jesus has gone so far down and through there for the benefit of everybody, because if Jesus is source in human form, everybody is attached to that bloodline. So, I speak about Jesus lightly only because the story was taken from, different places, including ancient Egypt, and, the interpretation is what it is, and there's a lot of misconceptions and things like that. But I think ultimately we can refer back to that story and, get a real understanding for like what that journey would have to require in a human vessel. It's not even, see, the quick and easy, I'm saying the quick and easy way, but like I'm not trying to insult anyone or offend anyone, but it's kind of like Jesus on the cross, kind of like the literal cross is like getting a whooping. You know what I'm saying? Being unalived takes less time than having to go down to hell and back for decades. Hey. So, and I'm not trying to minimize the sacrifice or anything like that. But like I said, the story is, misinterpreted. But I definitely know that there have been multiple vessels that are source in human form. They're just different names. So Jesus just happens to be one of the names. But there's so much that energy has to go through for the benefit of others. And that's the sacrifice. The person would have to go through pretty much every experience in or some variation of the experience of the masses. And so like I was talking about the other day, in like this day and age, if Jesus were to incarnate and basically be the sacrificial lamb for source, Jesus would have to like, be taken advantage of financially, SA'd, baby robbed, burglarized, had their identity stolen, had their credit messed up, had bad romantic relationships, like all of the things that, people, energies in a vessel have to deal with. That person in a vessel holding that type of energy would have to deal with a multitude of those experiences over and over and over again throughout their life. In the beginning, at least, like the first half of life would require all of that. And then you have like the Last Supper, the awakening, the death, the rebirth. I don't know. And so now the song on is Let Them Know. Yeah, this is like the sacrifice. Like being burdened, being hunched over, just exhausted, having to like manage chaotic energy, having to manage your energy and the energy of other people around you. That's what this is giving. Because, like, she has herself to manage, but then she has all this other energy to manage, which is outside of herself. And so the majority of the BS comes from outside of us. So if we master what's within us, our own energy, then we can dance with the bullshit. It becomes a situation like that's all you got. And the song on now is The Mighty Tree. And I was talking about Jesus being hung on a tree. Yeah, so I was talking about the first half of your life being rough. Like this would be representative of the first half of your life. Just imbalance as hell, doing too much, overextending yourself, trying to run the rat race, and you still like got peanuts. But Spirit said, surprise, the hard part is over. It's harvest time. It's time to take your throne and get what you came here to get. Um, yes, I have Zell. Let me know when you're ready for the email. I probably should put it up there because somebody asked me for my Zell. Okay. Is A. Excuse me. A is an apple. J is in John. B is in boy. I is in igloo. L is in Larry. L is in Larry. S is in Sam. 444 at Gmail. So it's AJ Bills 444 at Gmail. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, I should probably put it on my board. That's what I meant. Mm, mm, mm. Man. Oh my God. like maybe this is it. I don't have a thing like the chat box. Yeah, I don't really know. Can I do a poll? Is that what it is? Custom. Lord, I don't know. Oh my Lord. No, that's not it. It's it's AJBILLS444 @gmail.com. Ma'am. It's 11:22 here. I apologize. I don't know how I can type it. AJBills444 @gmail. So you have the first part right. Just add 444. Lord, I don't even know. My God. Excuse me. It's asking for a recipient's name. Amanda Johnson. I don't know if that's answering your question. I hope you found mine. Because it usually pops up, I thought. Yeah. But I thought it pops up. If it doesn't pop up when you enter the email, it could be the wrong thing. Ooh. Uh-oh. The card fell right on my dog's back. feel like there may be someone who's about to transition, and when they do, you're gonna find out about a house you inherited. Yeah, because the divine is pouring out this abundance on the people that they hold in high honor for following your path, following the divine. Yeah, I said someone was gonna pass, and then you're gonna find out about a thief. Find out about a house that somebody's trying to steal from you. Yeah, had you out here in poverty. It could be a father figure, grandfather. I feel like this person may have military experience. And we have great fortune. Hold on a second. And we have great fortune. Hold on a second. Let me check. Yes. So you wanted to do the extended reading for 33? Oh my God. Excuse me. Let me know. Okay, sorry. I'm up here yawning. Did you have anything specific you wanted to know about? I don't want too much information because I like to get the information from spirit, but did you have like a specific direction you wanted to go in? If you're you said law of psychic reading or family fortune theft. Oh, that's damn AI. If your comments seem filtered, you might have to put like one word in at a time. Ooh. Okay, well, I can tell you what Spirit says, and then you can ask questions after. Higher Self Spirit, what does Still Waters need to know? I'm just changing my music so that I'm not distracted. Higher Self Spirit, what does Still Waters need to know? Leave that. The energy I'm getting, I don't know if this is you or may resonate for someone close to you, but is giving like anxiety, insomnia, poor eating habits. And I was also getting, this was kind of random, but like flaky scalp. Um, which could like be an indication of dehydration. So let me know if any of that resonates. Alright, so Spirit, I asked for any of Stillwater's spirit team if they want to step forward to contribute to the message. You say I do DoorDash and eat terribly. Okay. And are you working so much that you're not getting much sleep as well? Cuz I was hearing too much coffee. Um so are you like drinking coffee to stay up and not sleeping well? I'm not seeing your comment if you're commenting. You said, I have a dragon that kept my heart firelight and allowed me to talk to my ancestors and gods. I'm not sure what you mean. During dark times. Okay, did you? I needed you to respond to that other stuff. I'm trying to confirm that this is your energy. I think what spirit is, you said insomnia, yes. Okay, so I feel like what spirit is getting at is that if you continue to travel down the road, and like no pun intended because you be in your car, but um like you're going down a road that is creating a chaotic environment in your energy. So I get it that, we all have to do stuff in order to make ends meet. So I'm not saying like don't do DoorDash, but I'm just saying that, like, for instance, if you work a full time job and that's your part time, um, like scale back your budget if possible to compensate instead of having to do DoorDash to compensate to fill the gap. That's just an example. I'm not saying that's your exact situation, but if that's not your situation, then I would say work on doing something else. So, like, let this be a means to an end. Sorry, say that again. Which, when you say it's your primary job or your side hustle? Um, I just feel like spirit is like you're gonna have to get out of that energy because it's creating a lot of unrest like within your body. And it's stressful because like I already know because you said it's my source of food since it's my your want is your own way of food. So what do you mean? So are you saying that you do DoorDash just to eat out? AI is a mess. You say, yeah, just to eat out. I'm tired. Okay, so yeah, like it's really a no go. Spirit is like, why would you do that to your body? Because you're really beating your body down by doing that. Because if you may not really realize it, but like on the road, in traffic, dealing with people with road rage, the stress of um the stress of having to like get to the place, then get to your destination. Sometimes you won't have the right gate code. They won't give you good directions to the apartment. Like there's a lot of different components to that. And if it's creating an environment in your body where you're not sleeping and you're eating very poorly, that's a recipe for stress related, health conditions. And so, like I was saying in the beginning, it's giving the energy of a side hustle. It doesn't matter if you have abs, if you have clogged arteries, hun. There are people who run marathons who drop dead at the end of the marathon because they're the type of people that would eat like honey buns. And I mean, it amazes me the type of trash that they have for people to eat after marathons anyway, between like beer and cupcakes and damn just straight junk food. um I know the game. You like, as long as I'm in a calorie deficit, I'm gonna eat whatever the fuck I want to eat. But you're killing yourself with the damn salt. Like Spirit is saying, your blood pressure. When have you been to the doctor? Because it was given the energy of an unnecessary side hustle. Like, but the what Spirit is saying is that this is your way of like avoiding dealing with your thoughts. You said, there's a salad on DoorDash, right? Yeah, but it doesn't sound like you eating mostly salad. But like Spirit is saying, you trying to distract yourself in that manner is very it can be very detrimental, because the energy is that you're trying to avoid like sitting with your thoughts. Do you bite your lip or do something with your lip a lot? I know I asked a couple of questions at one time. You said, I'm in isolation most of the time, have nothing but my thoughts. We know each other well. Um, it's not giving the energy of you doing anything productive with your thoughts. So it's one thing to like be in isolation and just be in your head versus, okay, maybe I need to journal what I'm thinking right now and what I'm feeling so that I can get it out of my head, and then I can replace those thoughts with something more positive. Um I feel like Spirit is talking about something having to do with like gardening, or um like maybe you having a green thumb. Oh, you have a few short stories already, so you've written books. Okay. Well, I would definitely encourage you to continue to do that, because the way that your energy is reading is like very full of anxiety. Like I said, insomnia, not eating well. And so, like, it's a vicious cycle. So, if you're not eating well, it's going to affect your thoughts because your stomach has neuropeptides in it that speak directly to your brain. So if you're not eating well, the quality of your thoughts is going to be poor. And then your thoughts aren't even gonna allow you to sleep, because like you thinking about like the worst that can happen in life is the energy that is giving. And humor, like I get that you have a sense of humor, but humor is not going to substitute for actually dealing with, like whatever you need to heal. You said, I know I'm working on many things. It's on the to-do list. Can't complete them all. I have to give myself to do tomorrow. Okay, so what did you say? What do you mean? Which part is on the to-do list? You said eating better and cutting habits out. Okay. Um, are you good at gardening, or do you have like a green thumb? I guess that's the same thing. You said I have a cactus and a cat. Okay. I feel like they're saying get out in nature, because they were kind of showing you out in nature, like in a garden. So I definitely feel like you need to get grounded. And oh, Cosmo, okay. I definitely feel like you need to get grounded, like go out in nature, um, get fresh air, because I feel like that's a way for you to connect with your spirit guides, because they say you're not listening at all. Because the thing is, when you have a lot of mind chatter, it's very difficult to hear from spirit. And I really feel like the mind chatter is based on like some past pain. So it's not just like, I mean, I think that I get the energy that you either watch and or listen to way too much news. And so you're consuming yourself with like you're stressing yourself out about things you have no control over. So are you listening to a lot of news, like podcasts, talk shows, news stations, or watching a lot of news? You said there's no chatter, just Level playing. No clutter. Just level playing field. What do you mean? You said no, but just the Simpson. What is that? What? First card out is Knight of Swords in reverse. Like, your thoughts are so strong, it's making you weak. You said no racing thoughts, just smooth, clear thinking. I don't think so. Let me just explain something to you. If you don't want the truth when you come around here, so this is like, you know, people coming against you, struggling with your energy, having to be on the defensive. It's definitely giving father wound. And I was talking about watching too much news, paying attention to stuff you can't control. You said when you've been through what I've been through, it's pretty clear compared to the average person. So again, like, you're telling me that I'm accurate, but then you're trying to kind of deflect. So if you're saying if you've been through what I've been through, and I'm talking about painful thoughts, but you're saying, oh no, like, I'm strong, everything's clear, everything's good. But in reality, you fighting for your life daily. So does it have something to do with your father? Wheel of Fortune in reverse, like feeling like the world is against you, or like the odds are against you. Spirit said I'm reading the energy correctly. He said, oh. This is like unhappiness, not really enjoying life. Like I was saying, when you have a lot of anxiety, and you're like worried about, you know, world affairs and things like that, like worried about world affairs, you know, like stuff you can't control, it's gonna be a challenge to be happy. It's gonna be a challenge to be optimistic. But I am really curious if you watch a lot of news or listen to a lot of like news programming, because that's what I was getting. You said I don't watch the news. Oh, you said you watch The Simpsons. Okay. Well, with all of the like so-called conspiracy theories of the world that The Simpsons comes up with, like that's close. Um and then, like watching something like that, knowing that a lot of the stuff they've predicted has come true. I mean, if you're being honest about The Simpsons, then, you know, if you know anything about The Simpsons, you know that they have predicted a lot of things. You said that's later stuff. I watched her. Okay. So, okay, let's just basically settle on the fact that you're not going to admit what the real issue is. And like I said, Spirit said you're not listening to them at all. You're not really listening to me. And you know, you have some choices to make. Um you can keep pretending like things, the things that you've been through is not affecting you, or you can acknowledge it and deal with it and work through it. But, that's going to be completely up to you. I can only tell you, I can't make you drink. I can lead you to the water. But I will say that I would take heed to all of this, and I would take it very seriously, because your thoughts and what turn into your words 1000% affects the experiences you have, the people you encounter, your money. Like if you are an author and you have several books, like I said, when I say things, I'm channeling for a reason. So it may not be exactly, but you have to think about what I'm saying. So when I said maybe you should journal your thoughts, you could really turn your thoughts into books. So I'm not sure if that's what you're saying that you have done already. But you can turn your thoughts into books, into movies. You could, maybe you could write a cartoon script. So there's ways to, like, I don't like to use the term kill two birds with one stone, but I mean essentially, you're doing two things at the same time. You're processing through your pain and the trauma and whatever you've been through, but you're also being creative, and you're pouring into something that can potentially make you money. Like, and when the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse, that means that there is some work to do. And that's what I was talking about. Yeah, and the work is getting out of this energy right here. And I mean, the fact that they brought this card out, and it's like he's in a bed, sitting up, not being able to sleep. And the swords is nothing but mental chatter, you know. And because, like I talk about, the swords are external to the person. So the swords are basically like um like an image of what has happened to you externally. So your thoughts are your thoughts because of what you've experienced from other people. And so did you have a rough relationship with your dad? Because the emperor came out, so I'm wondering if that has to do, if this has to do with the relationship with your dad. And we also have the Six of Cups, which looks like a father child type situation. You say, yeah, you can say that it was rough. Okay, so no, and this is further confirmation. When I was looking at this card earlier, though, Spirit was saying something about you giving too much. So this could be like giving too much of your energy, like people pleasing, or giving someone too much of your thoughts, or thinking about your childhood, your relationship with your father, that type of energy. Um, and so I feel like Spirit is saying you're giving too much of your energy to those thoughts, and until you deal with those thoughts, then it's going to be um like what I'm hearing is like a point of contention for you. So it's like, you can still carry on throughout life. It's just not, you're not going to be as happy as you could potentially be. You're not going to be, as healthy as you could be. You're not going to be as creative, because all of those things are connected. Yeah, Spirit is like, this is like a facade of strength. And not saying that you're a weak person at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the strength part, like the outer shell of I got it together, I'm strong, I'm not a punk, I'm not weak, or like that type of energy is really, like Spirit is saying, is creating a stronghold for you with regard to dealing with your mind and your thoughts. um So, it really does not pay to pretend that nothing is going on internally. Because, if you want to, if you want the change, if you want something different, then working on that, I would start, and like you said, one thing at a time, one day at a time. So I would, because this came out in the reading like this with the Emperor, I would seriously begin with, if you're going to do the work, I would begin with the relationship with your father, for sure. Because that has and like I was looking at this card and hearing firm foundation. So that relationship has created a really firm foundation in who you are, or who you think you are. Like, I feel like Spirit is saying you don't really know who you are, as far as like from a spiritual perspective. If you're retired, you're clear on what your career was, who you are, from a human perspective. But as far as who you are from a spiritual perspective, um, gives you a way better um idea of like what your strengths really are, what your gifts and talents really are. Um is your energy reads like kind of like you may have done something all of your life, but you really didn't do what you feel like is your true purpose. So, but let me know if you have any questions. Um, I know that was a lot. It probably wasn't, what you wanted out of your reading. But I'm not one of those readers that you can come in here and I'm gonna sugarcoat shit or lie to you or not, deliver the message the way spirit is giving it. It's already 12 o'clock. One under my chair, one next to the chair. They love their mommy. They love their mommy. He's my issues is that I just found out my life is a lie. My whole family was a lie. And it hurts to know. Well, I mean, that's a lot in itself. Um, and like I said, you could turn that whole story into a book or a movie. And that's not to minimize your pain, but why not capitalize off of you processing through the pain and healing? Um, but that's what spirit is trying to really like get through to you, is that you need to deal with the stuff from your childhood. If you feel like your whole life was a lie, that's like everything. But again, I feel like a large part of that has to do with your relationship with your father. So that's something that you can begin begin to process through. So I thank you for trusting me with your energy, and I hope that resonated and helped you. And thank you for supporting me. But I feel like spirit focused on you in the reading, because if you're focusing outward, like if you're focusing on what everybody else did to make your life a lie, then that is a distraction. And so instead of like blaming anyone else for whatever happened, you can be angry, you can grieve, you can process through it. But I'm not saying take on the blame, because I think that was you I was talking to earlier, where you say you feel remorse for these people. Why in the world would you feel any kind of remorse for somebody who has harmed you in any kind of way? Like when the people who have wronged me receive their karma, just because of who I am, I may feel a teensy bit bad for them for a second, but after that, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck it, you did that to yourself." You said I'll work on those things. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Oh, you're welcome. You said because I'm love. You said because I love what that's what I am. Yeah, but see, that's without boundaries. Because like I can love and care for people from a distance, but I'm going to create proper boundaries, because in order to protect my mental and emotional well-being, I cannot be around people who not only remind me of a really messed up childhood, but also I have to look at these people who I feel like contributed to a life of a lie. Like it doesn't, and that's the thing where society has created an environment where we feel obligated to be around family and interact with them in a certain way because it's a parent or a sibling or a cousin or whatever. And you have no obligation to give to people, or your, whether it be your time, your money, your energy, any of that, who have caused pain and trauma. So you say you're right. I'll let them go. I mean, you don't have to. I kind of like the way the energy that you're giving me is like, yeah, I get it. Like, I'm not a believer. Um, if you do it, then that'll be great. But I like, you don't have to tell me you're going to do it, because whether you do it or not, it's not going to affect me. It's going to end up affecting you. You said I'm a man of action, not so much words. Okay, well, let's see. I want you to report back in 6 months and let me know how things went. But like I don't like to leave people feeling like you have to like be this brand new person and you have to do all this work. And um the bottom line is, you create your success. Like, you have innumerable ways. There are innumerable ways for the divine to be able to reach out and bless you in every area of your life. But again, like, one of the biggest barriers to that is your thoughts. And so and that's because your spirit team, your higher self, they communicate telepathically. So if you can imagine, like, getting all this information from the world, and then your spirit guides are trying to communicate with you telepathically, the world, if you let it, is going to drown them out. Not saying that you aren't already guided and directed and are downloading information constantly, because that's the way your body runs, basically. Um, so yes, you are doing those things, but there has to be a point where you are able to communicate like with them, like when you're in isolation and you just, there's no one really to talk to, maybe you feel bored or something like that, then that's the time when you can take to communicate with your higher self, with your spirit guides, and meditate and just be quiet and listen for the response. And I feel like that's why spirit is saying to get out in nature, because when you're out in nature, you can be more quiet. You can, like really pay attention to your body, to your surroundings, to the sounds, to the birds. Your attention may be drawn to a particular tree or a particular flower or a mushroom. Those are just all things that help us connect with our spiritual being selves. But yes, definitely patience, definitely meditation. And I mean, honestly, the reading that I'm giving you today is the type of reading I was getting on a regular basis like 4 or 5 years ago, if it's even been that long. But we're in 26. So yeah, it was probably about almost 6 years ago that I would get readings like this. Like, okay, we got to work on our heart chakra, and we got to work on our this chakra, and we got to work on that, and we have to work on reclaiming our power and connecting with our spirit guides and doing the meditation. And I ain't want to hear that shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Didn't want to hear it. I resisted meditation for years. I still probably don't meditate as much as I should. And they're like, but I do a lot better than I once did. But I definitely, but y'all, I don't like it. I don't like that, because I meditate in different ways. Like I meditate now while I'm listening to this music. I meditate when I'm walking. I meditate in the car, like not literally like eyes closed in the car. But I will talk to my spirit team on my way home. Anywhere I can be, like I talk about this all the time, I'll put my headphones on and I'll go for a walk and I'll talk to my spirit team as if I'm on the phone. And nobody knows the difference. So, those are all simple ways. I think that just as a whole, we tend to make things complicated and we tend to overwhelm ourselves with the process. And then eventually it just gets to the point where we're like, fuck it. So, yeah. So, but thank you for trusting me with your energy. I appreciate it. I'm gonna pull a couple more cards before I hop off of here. Higher Soul Spirit, what does the collective need to know? Sorry. I feel like somebody is trying to make their way back to you. And it's giving the energy of like, God, please save her for me. Like, don't let her get with anybody else. Trying to distract themselves with like karmic coping mechanisms, toxic coping mechanisms. This person might have gotten a little caught up with somebody. Yeah, I said this person might have gotten caught up with somebody. Oh, okay. He said it's mostly conflict of identity combined with rewiring self-image. Yeah, that's why I was talking about knowing who you are. It's giving the energy that this person was pretending like they were single, maybe met you online and was pretending like they were single, but really had like some other extracurricular shit going on. And that's really selfish to bring somebody into a situation like that where they can't make an informed decision. And so I feel like the two of you were mirroring each other. And when I say mirroring each other, I don't mean that both of you had like a third party situation, but it's kind of like if that's your biggest fear that someone you deal with is going to have a third party situation, or you have like trust issues, issues around abandonment, then that person's whatever they have going on is going to trigger you and vice versa. And that can create like a mirroring effect. I really feel like this person's toxic because we have drinking, toxic lifestyle. I feel like the toxic lifestyle has more to do with this karmic person they're dealing with. Cause baby, this woman's energy, I don't even want to call her a woman. I'm gonna call her a female because her energy is so ridiculously toxic. Like, we're talking about going through the phone, constantly arguing, constantly complaining, um, flying off the handle, not having control of their emotions, and it's just so chaotic. It's really giving the energy of domestic violence. I'm not trying to be funny, but because it's like the woman is doing it, and this person is just like trying to cope with it any way they can, like they're just like using vices to cope instead of really dealing with the problem. And I do feel like this is somebody the person may have a child with. And so the person is given the energy of like the person just staying in the relationship because they're worried or concerned about the safety of the child. Because they know that this person's personality is so volatile that they want to keep a close eye on the child because the person is just out of control. I really feel like this is more like not able to move past the past, stuck in the past. Yeah, I feel like this person trapped this person with a child. So like they were trying to act like, this Susie homemaker, wifey material, but then they're like trapping people out with kids. Like, come on now. And now she not happy with the result. Like you the one trapped this man out that doesn't want you. And look, I told y'all this chick energy is so all over the daggone place. It's definitely giving psycho. I feel like she the one popped the question, not even him. I really hate to see it. I do. There's a lot of things that I'm a modern woman about, but that's not one of them. Yeah, she just gonna end up getting her feelings hurt because homeboy is not in it to win it at all. And take it as it resonates, gender neutral. She was wishing on a star, hoping that the child would make the relationship better. And it didn't do nothing but kill it. Spirit says somebody got to tell the truth. Shame the devil and tell the truth. So I think this third party situation is just a hell no, but it's like y'all, the two of y'all, have this kind of twin flame love hate relationship back and forth like some swings. And I feel like homeboy is gonna get some bad news, but it's gonna have to do with this damn psycho as doing something crazy to his property. Like now it was giving the energy of putting bleach on clothes, and look at these people's clothing, what color it is. That's the type of craziness. Like bleaching clothes, you know, um buzzing windows out cars and just creating situations where they're gonna be in lockup, basically. Because I feel like this person's work is being affected, because this is the type of energy that will call your job and tell your supervisor that that this person is like unstable and is not, look, I said this person is unstable, and this is definitely like giving work related because of the sticky notes and the way the person is dressed with the button up collar shirt. I mean, yeah, like I was just saying that she's the type that will call the job and act like the person's crazy. Yeah, fairy tale, telling lies, telling stories, creating illusions. And I feel like y'all both miss each other, but there's definitely an opportunity for a new beginning. Like if you want a new beginning, there's an opportunity for a new beginning. I do feel like there could be an opportunity for reconciliation with this situation, but it's definitely going to take time, because this person has to deal with this karmic third party. They have to deal with a child, possibly. Not everyone, but they have to deal with a multitude of things. And on top of that, this person, like I said, is concerned for the child, so they don't want to leave the child in the situation. So I mean, what type of time is that gonna look like? Not saying that the child should not be prioritized in that situation, but I'm just saying that, like, okay, well, sir, you put yourself in this predicament, and I'm single and I'm ready to mingle. So, like, yeah, like trying to sweet talk me and keep me, or keep the collective on this string, just to keep us close enough so that we won't deal with other people. Because if you're not ready, if you're not, and like I was talking about earlier, if you're not ready for my type of reading, my readings aren't for everybody, because I'm giving it to you straight from the divine, no chaser. And I said straight from the divine, no chaser. And I feel like I said no chaser, and then like he's surrendering to law enforcement, and so law enforcement doesn't have to go on a foot chase to get this person, to get the handcuffs on them. And so I feel like spirit is talking about surrendering to the process, because if we determine that we want it to be a particular outcome, that's us trying to control other people's free will. That's us trying to control the outcome, and then that's also us trying to manipulate other people's free will. And that's how you get love children and all these other things that come along with just being reckless with somebody that you really don't want to be with, like that. Spirit said, jackass. Why would you do that with somebody you really don't want to be with? That's what baffles me every time. Because I'm like, these dudes or females know that they're really not feeling this person. They know that this person is just going to be a place filler. So, why we you know, putting love spells on temporary situations and people we really don't want to be with just because you don't want them to be with the person they really want to be with. So you know that you really don't want to be with this person. They're just a placeholder for you. But at the same time, you like, well, I don't want them to be with anybody else. I don't want them to be happy. Like until I'm happy, I don't want this person to be happy. That's some wicked shit. It's giving the energy of like convincing this person of just whack shit. Like, why would you take advice from somebody who is not in a healthy, successful relationship? These men do it all the time. They have so called female friends, and they, anytime they go on a date or whatever, they tell their friend, and then the friend ends up picking the whole situation apart, figuring out how to convince homeboy that that's not the right thing to do and that's not the right person, and just having all these criticisms about the situation. And it's all because they trying to wait the person out. Yeah, that's not a divine masculine that will fall for the okie doke. In order for the divine masculine to come into who he is, he has to have an awakening. Gotta have it. Let's see, we have love child in the reverse. Don't be out here having these love children now. And we have a divine feminine. She's just waiting for her divine masculine, whoever that is. It doesn't have to be one person. If you got a lineup of 3 people, it doesn't have to be any of those people. I want the divine to be able to recognize when the masculine is not masculining. And it doesn't have anything to do with, sexual preference or anything like that. I'm just speaking about being the masculine, however that looks for your relationship. It's actually given the energy that both of you have spiritual gifts. And so, like, getting together sparked an awakening. And so, there's an awakening that's in between the divine feminine getting with her divine masculine, her healed divine masculine. And I feel like spirit is saying the more the divine feminine heals, the more she's going to heal her masculine. So even if you have not met this person, the more, if with being that you all are energetically like tethered together and the energetic cord runs back and forth between the two of you, regardless of whether you're together right now or whether you get together in the future, you're simultaneously helping to heal each other. Bumping heads, I said simultaneously helping to heal each other. So bumping heads doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be, like I said, the energy exchange. Living in the moment. And that's part of living in the moment, is not thinking about the future consequences. So there's positive and negative to everything. If you're living in the moment, like in meditation and, blocking other things out while you're just taking that time to focus, that's the positive side of living in the moment. But the negative side of living in the moment is, I'm just gonna, you know, get with this rando and shoot the club up and just pray for the best. No. And then what happens when the person calls you up? Um, hi, you're gonna be a daddy. Look, I said, what if the person calls you up and says, hi, you're gonna be a daddy? Damn. Who the hell shady ass energy am I reading right now? Tell me. I feel like this person uses their credit cards to create a facade of having money, um, having high end, luxury items. Yeah, the divine feminine came out in the upright, and here we have self love and turning your back. Because the thing is, if I meet someone and they haven't awakened or they're getting ready to go through an awakening, you don't want to be nowhere around. You need, if when that person starts going through their awakening, you probably gonna want to get out of Dodge for real. Cause you may end up being a part of the karmic lesson. Because if someone has to work something out relationship wise and has to close a cycle relationship wise, and this person is not passing the test, they are allowing this third party to linger, they're not creating boundaries, they're not like, so instead of like saying, well, I'm going to go to the courts and I'll just get custody of my child, or I'll go for custody, and if I can get joint custody, then that'll be good. I mean, because even if you live with them, I guess you could technically be around them 24/7, but that's not healthy. And so, as much as people are concerned for their child, I think that there still has to be um some self-care that takes place, because if you're not mentally and emotionally in a good place for your child, it's going to be very difficult for you to protect your child. So, and like I was saying earlier, y'all are mirroring each other. But this person already blocked. Blocked by you, blocked by spirit. And some of y'all got dealing with somebody that needs to get a whole ass divorce. Cause don't be like homegirl in North Carolina. What's her name? Brene. Take that as a huge example. If the parties live in a state that still recognizes like the alienation of affection, and you know being able to sue someone civilly for disrupting your marriage. Child, I said for disrupting your marriage. More confirmation. So somebody I'm talking about right now is definitely married and has a third party. I feel like, so we got the running card. I feel like this person is into politics because it's giving the energy of like, if I'm going to run for this office, I have to have the appearance that I'm in a healthy heterosexual marriage type shit. Meanwhile, you not closing their cycle, but continue by continuing to pretend. And I said continuing to pretend. When you out here faking the funk, that's a lot of pressure. And spirit is like, that's a whole second job to fake the funk and lie and pretend and keep the facade going. That's a lot of work. It's gonna eventually crash and burn. And homeboy, like, I wish this third party would just ghost me. I wish she would. Like, just go away. Yeah, trying to trap people out. Is giving stalker. And I feel like this masculine has some money, and so this third party is really like, I'm about to get this money. Like, I don't know what homegirl talking about, but I'm about to get this money. Like, it's giving the energy, like she's extracting, you know, fluids from the condom and inserting it and like trying to go to extreme measures to secure the bag. And I was talking about Brene, and here we have backstab. So the third party might be somebody you know. It's giving the energy that it's like a friend, family member, somebody you know. I said somebody you know. A Jezebel. And this person feels guilty about it. Yeah, I said this person feels guilty about it because they left you hanging. That was supposed to be your homie. Tell them, talk to the damn hand. Don't come near me. Do not come near me. Goodbye. The homeboy got massive regrets. I told you she was about to do something, like she was very toxic, destroying clothes, doing stuff that's gonna get her in lockup. Cause she's trying to live this fairy tale with somebody that does not want her. Reckless sex. And this is bringing me to like the story of this girl who got unalived at my undergrad and grad school, North Carolina Central. She was a grad student, and I just watched the documentary the other day. It just popped up, I guess not so randomly. But basically, she got engaged to this police officer. He was about an hour away. She was finishing up school. He definitely wanted to be with her, but ended up getting into this situation with this side chick. And the side chick unalived the girl that he really wanted to be with, the girl that he put a ring on her finger. And now, mind you, he did try to break it off with her, and then she became a stalker. But you still cheated on your fiance or your girlfriend slash fiance, and that's the game of Russian roulette that you playing. And I said that's the game of Russian roulette. If this child ain't ready to move on, then they not moving on. They out here praying for this person to be with them. But just as crazy as a bed bug. But sometimes it really be too late. The judge in that case told the fiance, you created the perfect storm for this shit to happen. Because homegirl that he was engaged to, she's totally oblivious. She doesn't know who this woman is. She's never heard of her, never seen her. And so when she appeared at her apartment complex, she spoke to her and started walking down the steps and got pew-pewed in the back of the head. You know, like, that's the type of stuff that happens when people play these games. And I have seduced. Because the thing is, when you play mind games with people and you try to make it seem like y'all could potentially have a relationship just so you can be intimate with the person, like, that's where people be going wrong. But also, too, females know when somebody is and isn't into you. Like, if all y'all doing is hooking up and this man has never taken you on a date, you know, never really tried to get to know you, there's red flags everywhere. All right, I'm about to wrap it up. Thank y'all for hanging out. Until the next time, darlings.